Hello, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order for the Brawley City Council and successor agency to the Brawley Community Redevelopment Agency, special meeting for Tuesday, April 21st at 5 p.m. We can have the roll call, please.
The minutes will reflect all council members present.
Okay, thank you for that. The invocation, please, by Pastor Thomas Charton of Full Gospel Church.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Precious Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight looking to you for wisdom and guidance and peace if it comes to that. But Lord, we pray that this group will be led by you to make the decisions that are coming before them. We know that the decisions often are hard, and we look to you for help in making the right decision. We thank you that we still have the liberty of asking prayer in this city. We thank you for that. We ask you, Lord, that you would bless the remainder part of this meeting tonight in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Pastor. Our city clerk, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you, Pastor. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, but before we make that approval, I think there's an announcement by our city manager.
It is staff recommendation that the item that appears under regular business as item D, that item be amended to reflect the purchase of 2 variable frequency drives. And we'll provide additional information when that staff report comes forward.
Okay, is there approval? Is there a motion to approve the agenda with that amendment to regular business?
I'll make a motion we approve the agenda as presented with the clarification from the city manager.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion by council? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Agenda is approved. The next item on the agenda is public appearances and comments not to exceed 4 minutes. This is a time for the public to address the council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. The mayor will recognize you when you come to the microphone. Please state your name for the record. You are not allowed to make personal attacks on individuals or make comments which are slanderous or which may invade an individual's personal privacy. Please direct your questions and comments to the city council. Is there somebody here from the public that would like to make a public appearance or comment? Please come up, Pastor.
Well, I would like to make amends for bad manners. It was quite some time ago that I approached the council, and I was talking about the tumbleweeds that were growing on the east side of Best Road. And Mr. Campbell said that you guys would look into it. Well, I guess you looked into it because they disappeared. They were taken care of, but I've been here at several meetings since, and I failed to say thank you, so I want to say thank you for heeding our needs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Appreciate the comment. Is there somebody else from the public that would like to make an appearance or has a comment?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council and staff. Jason Zara, Brawley Chamber of Commerce. This is the last time this year I'll be up here to talk about the farmers market, so I just wanted to say thank you one more time to the staff and to everyone in the public who made it a great success. We'll be having a final wrap-up meeting for our committee next week to look at some things to make it even better next year. But the overall season was very successful, and our final event with the Cesar Chavez Day concert following, a lot of the vendors stayed throughout the day and into the evening and reported a fantastic day, so very pleased with that. I also wanted to mention that on Thursday night we'll be having a special mixer out at the airport. Our host is Reach, but we're inviting everybody. This is going to be a slightly bigger shebang than the usual mixer party. We want to showcase the airport and give everybody the opportunity to come out and see everything that we have to offer out there. So we're very excited about that one. That will be 5 to 7 on Thursday. And the final thing I want to mention is that our Branding Iron Award nominations are now open. And so we are looking for nominations for community leaders who have put in a lifetime of service and are deserving of a prestigious award. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Ms. Mazzara.
I have one request. I've been asked if we would have in the farmers market more vegetables. So if you can take care of that concern, I'd really appreciate it.
That's number one on our to-do list. It's not as easy as it sounds, believe it or not, but we're working on it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mazzara. Any other comments? Is there anyone else from the public that would like to make an appearance or has a comment for council?
Good evening. I'm excited, Rosemary Wood from North County Coalition for the Arts, excuse me. I'm just excited to report that I had a wonderful experience at the Capitol last week. Not only was I in 2 public hearings in regards to the arts in school and arts cultural areas in city, in what Brawley has done, which is designated a downtown arts district. It is actually a big deal at the state capitol. I also met with Senator Wesso and I met with Assemblyman Garcia, both extremely supportive of the arts and what it can do for the city. There is a report out called the Otis Report. I hope that the City Council will take a moment to actually view the report. It has some astounding numbers, and again, I think when we presented the idea of the Arts Council, it is more bang for your buck. And I hope that you guys have seen it a little bit. Also, I'd like to announce that I'm really excited. NOCA is also well known for a partnership with Parks and Rec. It's a program called the Art Sparks program. We have 3 wonderful programs going to happen this summer. One is a film acting class. Another one is with Eric Sanchez. He's going to actually be teaching 3 weeks of classes in regards to street artwork. 1 week will be wheat pasting. Sorry, I had to actually look these up. 1 week will be water-based spray painting stencils. It's a great technique. Also, the next week would be photo manipulation. And all of these have to do with street art and very popular unconventional art. And it's for 10 years and older. We'll be at the Lion Center 3 weeks after school, or after school ends. So I'm really excited for that. Also, Deb Smurden also agreed to do a summer program through the Art Sparks, and I'm looking forward to being able to support her programs, and that is from DS Arts. So we're just continuing to hopefully cultivate and inspire students. You have to expose them to the arts in order for them to appreciate what artists do and the possibilities. One of the interesting things that I learned at one of the hearings, I just wanted to let you know, that it isn't just about the arts that impact the city. It's the businesses and the opportunities that impact, including restaurants, as we know, including retail, and including other businesses that do get impacted, such as hotels. So the Otis Report is really a wonderful tool to look at, and I hope that you guys will be able to view it and read it. I can bring you a copy if you like. So I'm very excited. Hopefully I can share more later, but I wanted to just touch base and let you know that I was really grateful for the opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Rosemary, I can share my
Oh, okay, thank
I'll
you.
share with
Well,
them.
Helen's on my board, as you know, as a representative for the city, so she has a copy, so she is willing to share.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Helen.
Thank you for that comment. Is there somebody else from the public that would like to make a public comment or an appearance here? Seeing none, we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda. That's 2A. It's a recognition, special recognition, Mr. Valenzuela, for outstanding community service in support of the Brawley Police Department. So,
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, staff. It's with great honor that I have the opportunity to introduce an individual in our community that has assisted the police department in the way that Mr. Valenzuela did. Also, how this came to be is with the incident. The officer came to me after the incident and said, "Chief, this is what occurred, and I really need this. This gentleman really assisted me." I said, "Write something up and let's look at it." And so the officer took the initiative, and we were able to put it together. So I'd like to read what is known as the community commendation. On April 9th, at approximately 8:30 in the morning, police agent David Holletz was transporting a suspect to the Imperial County Jail. The officer noticed the suspect had slipped his handcuffs and to the front and was trying to open the back door, and even worse, he was trying to damage and kick out our brand new unit back door. The officer pulled over and tried to calm the subject down, tried to get him back into position to be transported. The individual struggled, resisted, and then tried to run away. During the struggle, Mr. Valenzuela stopped and asked the officer if he could be of assistance, to which the officer said yes. Mr. Valenzuela assisted the officer and controlled the suspect until additional units, backup units, could arrive. The Brawley Police Department would like to formally thank Mr. Valenzuela with the Brawley Police Department Community Commendation for acting courageously and getting involved with assisting with the combative subject. His actions significantly reduced the potential of injury for officer, suspect, and the community, and it was greatly appreciated. Thank you very much.
Would you like to add anything, Mr. Valenzuela, just about your experience?
I'm not much of a public speaker, but it's an honor for me that at my age I was still able to help a fellow officer. I'm due to retire this year. Should have done it 5 years ago, but don't have the courage to do that. But it was just an honor, Chief, to help one of your officers. I'll always be there.
All right.
I don't know what else to say.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Chief, for that recognition. I think it's very important that we recognize individuals whenever they're assisting our community. Good job.
He knows how to block you guys out. Yeah. It's called cropping.
Thank you again.
Crop you out.
The next item on the agenda is 2B, recognition of Mr. Bill Presley, Mr. Troy Hutchinson of Hellenic Chemical, and Mr. Rusty Garcia of the Anthony Garcia Foundation for efforts to improve Meserve Park.
Good evening, council, mayor, council, staff. That is Bob Presley. Bob, are you there? You want to come up here?
Sure.
Okay. Rusty Garcia approached me and said that he knew of someone that wished to redo the infill at the east side of East Diamond at Meserve. I was introduced to Bob Presley, who said yes, he wished to do that. He was practicing with his girls' softball team already, but he wanted to level the other side out. To that, within a month, the month of December to be exact, we had a new fill out there. And it's beautiful, we love it, and we appreciate your help. Thank you very much. And to that, we have a plaque for you.
Mr. Presley, on behalf of the City of Brawley, the City Council, and our staff, we'd like to present this plaque to you. It says, "In grateful appreciation for your outstanding dedication and service to the people of our community." And so we'd like to present this to you. Congratulations.
And Mayor, can I add something? Rusty had a procedure done today, so otherwise he would have been here.
Correct.
Thank you very much. Yeah, let's get a picture. Let's get the council out, right? And we have another presentation, right?
We do.
Okay.
We do.
Let's
You wanna wait?
We'll wait.
You want to wait? Okay, my second one was Rusty Garcia, who had a procedure done today. But keep in mind, Rusty's that type of person that's instrumental in helping out the community. Him along with Bob Presley and a few others had already done the infill on the west side. Rusty is a worker who works behind the scenes but get the job done. We really appreciate Rusty, and the plaque for Rusty, Mr. Nava has it. Rusty's not here today, but we'll go on. And having completed both fields, we'll go to Troy Hutchinson from Helena Chemicals, who contacted Rosanna and said they would like to donate some fertilizer to be applied at Missouri Park. We met, we discussed the procedures. Within a few weeks, the fertilizer was applied using his guys and ours. They also brought in equipment for the applying. Although there are a few dry spots, we're still trying to adjust our sprinklers to reach those spots. It is a lot better than it was. As Troy stated the other day, it still needs help. Troy?
Troy, thank you very much. And on behalf of the City of Brawley City Council, of course, staff, and the community at large, in grateful appreciation for your outstanding dedication and service to the people of our community, we'd like to present you with this plaque. So I think it does say Helena Chemicals instead of Helena, but we're going to present this to you, my friend. Congratulations.
Sorry.
Sit down there, take a, yeah.
Thank you.
Congratulations again. Thank you very much. Appreciate your efforts.
Thank you, sir.
There we go.
Enjoy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yep.
And the field is named after his father. Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. You know what? I didn't give him the cover, but I'm sure he's going to hang it right as he get home, so he doesn't need it. All right. Well, again, thank you, staff, for that recognition. We appreciate it as well. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Items are approved by one motion. Council members or members of the public may request consent items be considered separately at a time determined by the mayor. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
There's a motion to
I
approve.
second.
There's a second. All those in favor? Any discussion on that? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is regular business 4A, review and potential action to accept the audited financial statements for the City of Brawley for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2014 by our Finance Director, Ruby Wall.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. Ruby Walla, Finance Director. This evening, and this item is the review and acceptance of the audited financial statements for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2014. Prepared a couple of slides just with the updated information to highlight some key information. In your packets, you have all the reports. The reports include the annual financial report, the management report, the single audit report, and the Transportation Development Act report. Annual financial report is all-inclusive, all city funds. Management report is just a review of internal controls and identifying any findings that need to be noted. Single audit report is our required reporting for being a recipient of federal funding over $500,000. If we receive any funding over $500,000, we're required to file a single audit report by a federal expenditure listing. And then the Transportation Development Act report, what that entails is all our TDA funds that we receive for Dial-A-Ride, Article 8E, and Article 3 funding. Findings. For the past couple of years, we've had findings listed, but I am happy to report no findings through June 30, 2014. Clean audit. So we feel like that's a big accomplishment. I noted the prior year finding, which was a continuing finding that we reported last time we were here with the financial statement presentation. That's basically statused in there as implemented. So that has been taken, and we're up to date, and everything's moving forward smoothly. The other good news that I'd like to share, general fund reserve. Fund balance as of July 1, 2013, our beginning fund balance was $4.4 million. The net change in fund balances as we closed June 30, 2014 was $155,000, which is pretty well considering we approved a budget at that time utilizing reserves, and it showed that we net and we had a gain of $155,000. That includes our first payment to the regional board as well of $333,000. Then moving forward, general fund preservation policy, it's basically established at 15% of operating expenditures. And if we look at that at our current operations budget that we are currently in for 14-15, it's $16.4 million. Of that, we would need to maintain $2.4 million. And we are meeting that sufficiently. These are all the items. If you have any questions, I just highlighted the major parts of the financials, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to entertain them.
It's all good news. Is there any questions from council?
No, it looks good. Thank you, you and your staff.
She also has another good news. Her baby just started walking, so she gets to run after him more.
Yes. That's the highlight of my life.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just echo, too, the comments. This is probably the best slide, I think, for anybody associated with the city, including all our citizens. And you've got to consider all the challenges we've had over, not just the past year, but even daylighting the fact that, as mentioned, paying some revenues, I should say, paying out of our general fund, for example, the regional water fund, and to still come out this way, that is just a dedicated effort on staff's part.
Absolutely.
And just tremendous.
And, even the user utility tax that wasn't collected because of National Beef's closure, it's still solid. Very happy to see the figures.
Yeah, and it's a group effort. Your department head as well. They are accountable for their budgets, and that's something that we've been pushing throughout on our department heads and just working together collaboratively just to kind of just be mindful and working on that and reviewing our purchase orders and talking more, communicating amongst each other. So that's a big help.
It's a big achievement. Thank you.
Yes. Is there a motion? Actually, I'll make a motion to accept the audited financial statements for the city of Brawley for fiscal year ended June 30th, 2014. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is 4B, adopt resolution number 2015-, resolution of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, appointing members to fill new positions on the Brawley Business Advisory Committee. And we have 2 applicants, so it brings the total to 7 positions, which was the original concept, to have a business advisory committee of 7 applicants that were appointed. And so we have Monica Torres and we have Mr. Kenny Robertson. They're here in attendance, and so I would make the motion to include them on the Business Advisory Committee. So I'll make a motion to do that.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, and congratulations on your appointment. I just wanted to make sure that the 2 of you were here. It's not something that we typically do, but I would like to make sure that from this point forward, whether that's the Airport Commission or Business Advisory Commission or any of the committees that we have within the city, that we have the applicants here in attendance so you understand that your responsibility is a great one and that your attendance and participation is vital. So we often have instances where people don't show up, there isn't a quorum, and it's very important that you participate because there are issues within the city that we need help vetting. And so it's important that you provide your input, your expertise, your background, and bring your knowledge to the group and help make decisions for the city of Brawley. And so this is where you live, and it's an honor certainly to serve on council. It should be an honor to serve on the advisory committee, but any committee or commission that you serve on within the city of Brawley. So I wanted to make sure that you understood it's very important for us when we're appointing you, that you attend and you participate, because that's how decisions help get made here. And so you're going to be part of that group. And so our representative, Mayor Pro Tem Don Wharton, he represents the city on the Business Advisory Committee. I'd like to allow him to say a few things. It's just getting started, but...
Yeah, congratulations, and thank you for stepping up, and continued congratulations, and my thanks for those who are already serving. So we have had some incredible meetings in terms of subject matter. So just be prepared you're going to dive in. It's a lot of fun, frankly. And there are some tough issues, but I will tell you right now, I think I've had a chance to actually meet both of you at different venues, and you bring a lot of valuable experience to that committee. And I think together we can really do some good things. And when it comes to business, I can tell you right now, most of us here, as it reflects everywhere with council, we really feel we've turned a corner as a city, and we're really heading in a good direction. So welcome aboard, and I appreciate your service.
I'd like to say something. Congratulations to the both of you. I know you both. Monica, of course, has a brother who's in PD and another brother who has a business here in Brawley. So it's a family affair, and thank you for saying yes, coming forward to the both of you.
Any other comments from council?
Look forward to working with the both of them, and I'm sure they're going to do a good job. And as my colleagues have said, I really do think that the city has turned the corner. We've been through some hurdles, but everybody here works together, and and as we all say, sometimes we agree to disagree, but we get along. So, and that's a good thing, because everybody brings a little bit different idea to the ball game. So that's good, I think.
Thank you. And I'll give you an opportunity, if you'd like to say something, come up and say a few words. Please do. You're going to have to get used to it. You're going to be out in front of public, So. Mr. Robertson, don't be shy. Follow up right behind him. So.
Okay. Well, I welcome the opportunity, and I'm excited to be a part of the committee. So thank you guys for selecting me. I really appreciate it.
Well, welcome.
Very good.
I appreciate everything. I appreciate being able to have the chance to serve. I'm looking forward to many days to come. And, thank you.
And this...
Your dad's going to be after you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, he will.
Yeah, right.
He won't let me off the hook.
And as Mr. Nava said, this is one step closer to be running for city council. To the both of you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda is item 4C, discussion potential action to approve the Imperial Irrigation District Water Department construction deposit in the amount of $315,000 to underground a section of the Oakley Canal along a new section of Southeastern Avenue in the vicinity of La Paloma subdivision.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Council members. Yasmin Arellano, Public Works Director. City staff received direction to move forward with priority 1 and 2 of La Paloma subdivision utilizing bond settlement proceeds. Priority 1 has already been constructed. Priority 1 constructed en route to grade the streets within the occupied homes at La Paloma. Priority 2 will construct the easterly half of Eastern Avenue in between Mayland Street and Avenida de Valenzuela. Throughout the construction of Priority 1, staff coordinated with the Imperial Irrigation District for the underground of the Oakley Canal in between this section. The city already paid the Imperial Irrigation District $3,000 as a planning deposit, $25,000 as a design deposit, and now IID is requesting the amount of $315,000 as a construction deposit. IID has indicated that they can proceed within 90 days after receiving payment. It is anticipated that construction will take place early summer.
Is there a motion to approve the item?
So moved.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is discussion potential action to authorize the purchase of a variable frequency VFD for the use at the City of Brawley Water Treatment Plant in an amount not to exceed $27,774.25, and that's been multiplied by 2 units for the change in agenda. So,
That is correct. City of Brawley Water Plant utilizes 4 variable frequency drives to provide water distribution system pressure. BFD units control the pump motors by adjusting the speed based on the water demand. And typically they prevent water hammer, which usually causes the pipeline breaks. 2 of the 4 VFDs were installed in 1997 with the original construction of the water plant, and the other 2 were converted to VFDs in 2013 as part of a Department of Energy grant. As of last week, only 1 VFD was not in service, and staff had anticipated that the other one will need replacement, but we're contemplating replacing it later, at a later time. The second drive failed this weekend, and that was one of the issues that created a couple of water breaks this weekend. These newer drives are Emerson. Actually, no, the 2013 drives that were installed with the grant are Emerson drives. The older drives are Rubicon. The system has been configured for the Emerson drives VFD, as well as the SCADA controls. City staff requested quotes from different providers. We requested quotes for Emerson drives. However, the providers came back with different quotes with different drives. And city staff is recommending, only one provider provided the Emerson drive quote. City staff recommends the purchase of the Emerson drives.
Is there a motion to approve the authorization to purchase the variable frequencies?
I'll make the motion to approve this item, but I do want to make a comment on this item. But
Second.
Your comment, go ahead.
Yeah, I talked to the city manager today about this item, and I realized that we didn't select the low bidder for this project. But I want to make it clear how important it is that we make sure that the equipment we put in the system that operates our main water system is something that we can rely on. And sometimes the cheapest bid isn't the best bid. So I understand what goes on here, and I'm trusting the fact that our staff is professionals and they're bringing us the information that we need to make good decisions on. So I'm supporting staff on this item, even though it's not low bid. Sometimes people look at that and they say, how could you do that when the bid is such disparity? But these pumps controls the water flow throughout the whole city. So when you have issues like we've had in the past, these are the kind of problems you're dealing with when you deal sometime with the cheaper part, if I may say. So I'm glad to make the motion to approve this project, Jasmine, and support you guys with your decision.
Thank you.
And Councilmember, just Campbell, if I could comment, it's not even the low bid; these are just completely different manufacturers.
That is correct.
Is that my understanding? Okay.
That is correct.
Question to follow up on that: what is the difference between the $12,000 bid and the $27,000 bid? Why the decision to go with Ferguson Enterprises?
The decision is because staff is already trained to work with this BFDs, with this type of equipment. The system has already been configured to work with between the pumps and communicate to the SCADA controls. The system has been running linear with the Emerson VFDs. We went through a troubleshooting process when we installed these VFDs, and as part of this energy efficiency grant, they don't make parts for the Rubicons anymore. We couldn't find something that was compatible with our system in Rubicon years ago. That's the reason why we went with the Emerson.
Any other questions, concerns from council? There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Next item on the agenda is regular business 4E, discussion potential action to approve revision to the City of Brawley credit card acceptance policy and adopt resolution number 2014- resolution of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, adopting the City of Brawley's credit card acceptance policy dated April 21st, 2015.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, Ruby Waller, Finance Director, once again. This item is a follow-up item from the last meeting when I came to City Council regarding the update on the online bill pay feature. And what that did was I basically took the recommendations and discussion comments from City Council and I updated the policy, which is in your packets. And we actually have prepared a flyer, which is here. There's some copies available to the public, but this is actually an insert that's going to be going in our billing that's going to be processed this week. So we have put these together, and they'll be going out with the billing. The items of note changes basically the policy is now for credit card acceptance, is that we're adding the online bill pay feature. And it notes the $1.25 fee, which is Tyler Tech's fee, not the city's fee. It's a web hosting fee. It reflects that there is no convenience fee charge on the city's behalf for any transactions. And basically that it accepts payments for utility billing and airport transactions. As just to remind you that it's basically only accepting payments, and it's integrated with our utility billing, and we process our utility billing for water, sewer, and trash, and airport billings go through there as well. And then the effective date, of course, is noted as May 1st, 2015. The other item that we updated is that in connection with online bill pay, we are going to eliminate the auto authorization by credit card. This we're going to give pretty much a 3-month window. We are in the process of preparing a notification to all those enrolled currently, and advising them as of July 31st that this option is no longer going to be available. And what this is, that they've enrolled at our counter, providing their credit card information, and they selected a date between the 1st and the 15th. So they'll be notified, and then we will encourage redirection to the online bill pay feature. Any questions?
Are there any questions from council? Any comments?
Looks good.
Staff.
Looks good.
I make a motion to approve the revision to the City of Brawley credit card acceptance policy.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Ruby, you guys did a good job.
Aye.
Thank you. It looks really good.
Thank you.
Any opposed? Abstentions? None? Okay, motion carries. Was that a 5-0 vote? Everybody voted aye on that?
6.
I didn't hear.
Well, that was 2 seconds.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. There was no confirmation on that last vote, though. Discussion, regular business 4F. Discussion potential action to approve a 60-day extension of sunset for the city ordinance, urgency ordinance of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, prohibiting the wasteful use of water and establishing restrictions on water use.
On March 17th of this year, the State Water Resources Control Board adopted Resolution 2015-0013, which consists of the continued emergency regulations for statewide urban water conservation. This resolution amends last year's resolution, adding language that restricts the application of potable water to outdoor landscapes during and within 48 hours after measurable rainfall, the serving of drinking water, and other than upon request in eating and drinking establishments, and it mandates hotel operators to provide guests with the options of choosing not to have towels and linens laundered daily. This resolution also imposes mandatory restrictions on the number of days allowed that outdoor irrigation of ornamental landscapes or turf with potable water is allowed. Also, Governor Brown issued Executive Order B 2915 on April 1st, directing the board to implement mandatory water reductions in cities across California to reduce its water usage by 25% as compared to the amount utilized in 2013. Other important items in that executive order include the prohibition of irrigation with potable water of ornamental turf on public street medians and outside of newly constructed homes and buildings that are not delivered by drip or microspray systems, among other conservation measures. The board released draft regulations last Friday for public comment. This draft documents place Brawley, the city of Brawley, on tier number 8 with a 32% conservation standard, as opposed to the 25% on the executive order. And apparently that conservation measure was based on a report of 41% conservation average from June 2014 to February 2015, as compared to the amount of water produced by our water plant during 2013. We do report to the water board monthly on the 15th of each month. Ever since we started reporting, conservation has been going up. We'll see what turn it takes now with the hot weather. This emergency rulemaking, it's scheduled to take formal notice on April 28th, and it's scheduled for board hearing and adoption on May 5th and 6th. I have pending conversations with regional board. I had already a conversation with Mr. Carmona, and then I also have some calls into Sacramento with Mr. Gomberg to talk about the process to comment on that Tier 8 placement, and also the reasons of why this community was placed when we have been doing our due diligence and conserving more than 25% as mandated. Our current urgency ordinance prohibiting wasteful use of water and establishing restrictions of water use sunsets on April 25th, which is next week, unless the City Council extends the sunset date or otherwise changes its terms. It is staff's recommendation to extend the sunset date of Ordinance 2014-03, a minimum of 60 days, with the intent to bring back to Council a new ordinance that will address the Water Board's adopted regulations.
A question for you. With respect to the tiered system, can you explain that a little further? I'm a little confused on that. Tier 8 were placed on that, and why is that? You're not sure yet?
Yeah, I'm not sure yet. What it is they developed different tiers, and the higher the tier, the higher the percentage, and we were placed in Tier 8. This was released last Friday on April 17th. The original executive order mandated all the cities across California to conserve 25%.
Is it because our water conservation is beyond the 38% that we're being now mandated?
I can't.
It seems that way
It seems
because
unfair to me.
it is unfair
Or
because
it could be that we're still have unmetered users.
it could be that too, but we do need clarification on that item. Considering the fact that National Beef's not operating, that saved 2 million gallons of water every day, and so if now they're seeing us, it happens in business, and I'm sure it happens at the state level when somebody's doing better. They put further restrictions on you, and somebody else gets to, have a lesser. They conserve a lot less. So I don't know if that's the case, but I would like some more information on that as well, Mr. Kemp.
One of my concerns is that we're all involved in economic development, but how do you economically develop if you can't use water in a reasonable fashion? And I'm not saying anything about the 25%, but I think the 31 or 32 or whatever it is a little bit unreasonable at the Tier 8. I just think they're requesting that we're a desert city, we're a small little town, and we have to conserve, say, more than San Diego has to conserve or whatever. I mean, I just think that's a problem for us, and I think it's kind of unfair to us. I realize the beef plant creates a different situation, and upon if we're successful and it does reopen, that puts other pressure on us, in terms of conservation from other areas, and so I see some problems with that down the line. So we need to really clarify that with the state and find out why they're doing that. And then, I think we do what we do. I'm not so sure they're going to get compliance with 32% anyway. We may be able to do that, but I think ultimately as we develop economically and things happen, they're not going to get that kind of conservation. I mean,
I don't know how they could mandate that without giving you numbers and reasons why. That just doesn't.
I will mention that I think until we get commercial meterization on everything, we're going to run into this kind of problem. I think with commercial meterization, though, what will happen will be we will reduce the amount of water that we use, but also that reduces the amount of money coming into the city. So it's kind of a two-edged sword, and there's a lot of little issues that come up because of that. And I think we're going to see those kinds of issues develop as we move along through. And that's only if the drought continues, and that's only if things continue as the way they're headed.
But even then, even with commercial meters or without them, we know how much water is being pumped to our system.
Right. So we already know.
They know that.
I think with meters, though, what you run is you get reduced usage. We did that with residential.
That's true.
I would assume we would see that with commercial. And so, but what happens is with that reduced usage is less money comes into the city, also less water flows through the system, and the system's developed to have a certain amount of flow. With the less flow, then we run into other problems that develop. And so we're kind of between a rock and a hard place in some ways.
Yasmin, as best as you can tell, the tiered system is obviously, it seems a little punitive. Is that what it's designed to be, or we don't know?
I can't comment, but it is one of the highest tiers. I commented with local staff at the regional board, and they refer me to the program specialist.
Wow. If you could find out and please update council.
Sure, I will.
Is there a motion to approve the item?
It's just the extension, right?
It's a
Right.
60-day
Extension of what
extension.
we're already doing.
Yes.
The only other comment I would make is that I have received a few complaints about the water saving, and some people have been approached by city staff about water usage that doesn't appear within the grounds of the ordinance. And so I think we just need to take a look at that as we move along. Yes, I think we should extend it, and then we'll take a look at what we see out there, what's happening. I know there are people that are probably watering off this system, and I know there are a lot of different things that are going on. But I think as long as we're conserving enough water, I'm not too overly concerned with that. I'm just hoping that we can reach some kind of happy medium.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's a second to this motion?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? My only comment would be that I would like to see why we were placed on a higher tier.
Yes.
Okay.
So that would be it. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is item 5, Enterprise Funds Workshop. 5A, presentation. Preparation of the City of Brawley Enterprise Fund budget for fiscal year 2015-16 and a request for staff direction.
And I'll be stepping down for
See you later.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right? Everything? It said big picture and it was a little picture.
irony.
I know, right? Irony.
Okay. So this is our second favorite subject of the year, which is our third, actually, strategic planning, general fund, and now we're on to our enterprise and special funds. And I'm hoping to walk you through a preview of where we're headed and get some feedback from you. As you may recall, we have more than a dozen funds that fall into special uses and purposes, and what we'll do is walk through a number of major proposals that we'd like to get some feedback from you on. Okay, so compared to the current year we're in, the intention is to keep our operational budgets constant and to perform the city's work within our financial means. So the concepts that are included in tonight's presentation include a set of assumptions that are clearly within our ability to deliver from a financial point of view. We're trying to look specifically at priority areas of the councils, look to implement next phases of systematic efforts for some chronic issues we've been challenged with, look at carryover projects, because last year we were extremely ambitious, and we'll have a number of projects to provide you with an update on that might be in a design phase and not yet at construction. So carryover projects will be included in tonight's presentation. Our hope is to maximize the use of our staff and do the best we can to ensure that the pipeline can be pushed through from start to finish in the next fiscal year. We are not assuming water and sewer rate increases in this approach, so when that topic is taken up by the council at a future date, there may be an amended set of projects that we would deliver in the fiscal year ahead of us. Okay. So this is a familiar topic. You've seen it before. The fire apparatus was scheduled for acquisition with the help of the Community Development Block Grant Program. We had a $500,000 award associated with the acquisition of the fire apparatus. $70,000 of that is for activity delivery. That leaves the remainder of $430,000 of CDBG funds to be available for purchase. We are aiming to augment the $430,000 with two eligible pots of funds. The first is the program income fund, so we've referred to it as 201, and development impact fees. And our fire apparatus is included on the needs list for the use of for the utilization of impact fees towards the purchase of a new fire truck. And please feel free to stop me anywhere along the way.
Roseanne said, well, that total cost would be
$530, but we haven't gone out to bid yet, so we really can't tell you what the final figure will be, but that's what we're we're identifying as available for resources. If we proceed with only the 430, we might have an apparatus that can't
Operational. Yeah, it's not operational.
meet our needs. Okay, moving on to Fund 211. What's included in Fund 211, we're in the design phase. We're using SOMAS to help us with the plaza lighting project. We actually have great content that we're working internally to prepare for presentation to the council regarding the lighting project. This is an area that will either take it. The master planning takes in both North Plaza and South Plaza, but a determination will be made about which portion to proceed with first. Because we're in design, once the design phase is complete, we'll move forward with the construction phase. So we're expecting that a portion of Phase 1, which is design and construction of Phase 1, will be carried over into the next fiscal year. We're also proposing an additional $300,000 for Phase 2. We are still working with the Imperial County Building Trades Council on a final schedule. Downtown Beautification Project. This is our small scale development between the transit station and the Rock. And we are in the process of determining whether the city portion of the work, which is landscaping, irrigation, and potentially limited lighting, if we can accomplish it before the end of the fiscal year or if we need to carry it into next year. We are working closely with our friends at NOCA to commission an art piece and have that concept in its working stages and hope to have content for you shortly on that subject. We also have preliminary engineering. What we're proposing to do is preliminary engineering for lighting the portion of Main Street that spans Eastern to Best Avenue. City staff is proposing the preparation of that report at a figure of $20,000. And then we're proposing the second phase of planters, benches, and bike racks in the downtown area. As you may recall, the first phase was carried out with assistance from our friends at the Chamber and Downtown Merchants, and city staff installed the features in the first block of Main Street between Plaza and 6th. The larger planned area was extending to 8th Street, so the proposal is to carry out the work for Phase 2 next year. It is definitely possible that we may be successful in funding a portion of this with grant opportunities that are intended to advance active transportation, which would be pedestrian or bike travel. So if we can include this expenditure in a grant-funded activity, we definitely will. But wanted to give you a preview of that. Problems with my, let's see. Okay. This is a carryover item from last year. You may recall last year we were able, with the help from Imperial County Transportation Commission, to secure maintenance resources for our new transit station. Last year the figure was at $50,000 because we aimed to acquire equipment and materials to assist the downtown detail crew and our staff who clean this transit station daily. The ongoing operations have a set aside of $36,000 that we secure with the assistance of ICTC. So that number is lower than last year because we've already acquired all of the equipment to perform the work. Okay, this is our half-cent sales tax, Measure D. This is a carryover project. Illuminated crosswalks is a reference to crosswalks that you may recall at Legion Road, K Street in front of Witter School, as well as Western Avenue at the north end of Phil Swing and Western, or River Drive and River Way and Western Avenue. So we are working at a number of alternatives to the current format that's there and not functioning. You may recall it used to have a button that was operated by pedestrians or wheelchair-bound individuals. They hit the button and the walkway would illuminate. We have unfortunately found that there's a high degree of malfunction. None of the crosswalks is currently operating, and the original supplier of the materials is no longer in business. So we'll be looking at other methods.
They malfunction too.
Other methods to call attention to crossings of pedestrians and children, and look forward to bringing that solution to you here shortly. The research is well underway. We may be able to get some portion of it pushed out this fiscal year, but the actual delivery likely not to happen until after July.
Excuse me. Talking about crosswalks, you know, the main street where all our little stores are, starting from Infierno, there is not crosswalks there. Are we going to add a crosswalk there? Because I see a lot of people jaywalking across. So, and they say, well, there's no crosswalk in the middle, and you know, we need to walk all the way across, or the wheelchair wants, you know.
Right. So I'm not a traffic engineer, but I will offer a comment from the planning perspective and invite our city engineer to comment further. Pedestrian travel is thought not to be safe mid-block. Right. So when you place crosswalks at the middle of a block as opposed to at the edges, it's thought to be less safe than at actual corners. So what I see a lot is pedestrian crossings in the middle between Plaza and 6th, people crossing in between, let's say, to get to Factory to You or to cross in the middle there. It's a great point, and we're happy to take a look at other options in the future, but I don't have a specific solution.
But we also don't have one at the corner where Infierno is. That corner,
right?
There's not. And then the one where CBB, you know, there was high school and Barbara Worth students I know in the mornings are crossing, and a lot of the cars are just coming really fast. The other day I had to put my arm literally out because the cars weren't even stopping. So if there's a crosswalk there, they'll have more chance to stop.
There are some crosswalk configurations to consider. There are also, when we're done with the undergrounding portion of our Main Street Waterline project and council's ready to take on the subject matter of the ultimate configuration of Main through our downtown, there will be many alternatives that come forward, including narrowing of Main to a single lane of travel and angled parking any number of removal of the planters, the center median. Right. There's a lot of potential configuration alternatives. We're also proposing next fiscal year to address a second year of striping, and we're just about finishing up with the notice of completion for a striping project that was undertaken this year. As you know, unfortunately, our weather really does a number on striping out on city streets as it deteriorates very rapidly in our local conditions. And what we're trying to do is keep ahead of just continuous efforts to maintain.
That doesn't last long.
Phase 10 and 11, also very familiar to you. Phase 10 is scheduled to go out to bid at the end of this month. Phase 11 to follow later this summer for going out to bid, and looking forward to delivering all of those projects.
I have a question on the previous slide. It's not up there, but we talked about the electronic speed flashing.
That project's been awarded, and the notice to proceed has been issued. The work should be occurring here shortly. Okay. That's to be delivered this fiscal year, and was one of our projects that we will complete.
A question on the illuminated crosswalk. I noticed that when I go to other communities, they do work. Is it something with our heat? Is it something with the street? Is there something wrong with that system, why it doesn't work? I notice in other communities I see it working. I'm just wondering if it's a different supplier, if it's a different mode.
The ones that historically the ones that we have, and also in other communities, maybe in other communities they have the other type of crosswalks, the one that lights up in the middle of the street.
No, they blink.
The blink ones. Yeah, historically those have, because we did research in other cities, and historically they're very expensive, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to change the type from the blinking type to something more a different one, more stationary, I guess, instead of lighting the entire width of the crosswalk. But it's mainly cost and maintenance.
Okay. Well, I didn't know ours stopped working, so we did have it in place. And
yes.
So if they stop working, the company's out of business. But I do see them operating in other places. So I don't know,
I know that ours failed, the cells for the solar batteries stopped working for
Okay.
ours.
And that happens with solar lights a lot, so it's not unusual. Okay.
So again, Phase 10 and 11 scheduled to go with $4 million assumed for programming next fiscal year in
This will be
streets
Palm, right?
projects. A portion
part
of
of that.
Palm is included as LTA funded,
Yes,
and
that's
you'll
a
see
different-
in a future fund, also this fiscal year, but on the federal calendar, the southern portion is scheduled for rehabilitation.
He asked this time.
Yes. And I tried to get a picture of the palm, but I wasn't able to shoehorn it before
'Cause people keep
today's
asking.
presentation. Yes,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
coming.
I
It's
just
coming.
want them to know that I am still asking.
We ask her every month.
We know it's coming. I mean, I tell them it is, but they don't believe me until it's there, so.
What's the schedule on this?
Going out to bid in April of this month. At the end of this month, it will be out to bid. Award in May, because it won't be out to bid till the end of the month.
So the work won't be till after the summer, because I know because of the heat, so we're talking.
No, well.
More like when?
More than likely is what she's stating.
So in November, December.
Because when it gets hot, it's hard to.
October, November, December. Okay.
Okay.
As long as it gets done.
Fund 421. We have the ability, with the assistance of a grant, Regional Surface Transportation Planning Grant, to do bike lane striping. All that is required of us is that a local match of $23,000 be provided, and that we include roadways that have not been striped before. So that is planned for this next fiscal year.
Include, meaning also, do the ones that have been?
No, they're not eligible. They have to be new lanes.
Oh, okay, so that's not included.
And I can give you, if you're interested in the street segments, I can probably find those for you if you hang on 1 second. Oh, darn it.
There's some that are
Mayland.
Most of our wide streets have been.
Yeah, Mayland Street, K, D, and River.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that Mayland completely across? Because it looks like maybe from First Street all to
You said
All
Eastern.
the way to 111 or to Eastern?
Eastern.
You can ride your bike up to the top?
D.
Get out there and run him down.
Take my chihuahua.
Take your chihuahua.
Take my chihuahua.
Segment.
It slows traffic is what they use it for.
Oh,
it
only,
does.
okay, here it is.
It's
Only
definitely
areas
better.
never before striped are allowed: D Street, K Street, Malin, and South 8th.
Okay.
South.
Yes. Okay. And moving on to additional capital projects. These are going to be familiar to you. Yasmin's already talked about priority 2 improvements. This is a portion of which is the work being performed by IID relative to undergrounding. So we have $1.8 million of bond settlement funds remaining. We're not sure of what portion in total will be utilized for priority 2. If there are excess funds, we'll come back to council with priority 3 items. There was a very long list of items relative to La Paloma, and it will be in the council's hands to determine what after priority 2 is most important. We've also got the South Palm Avenue rehab, and that's $650,000 of regional surface transportation program, our planning dollars, with a local match of $84,000. We've also got pedestrian improvements planned. Now, you may recall, and I'm gonna jump a little bit into the water arena. We had critical water line replacement projects that were bundled together in a set of design, a design scope of work for a local engineering firm. So that work is currently underway. First Street was one of those portions or segments of the work between Main and A Street generally. We were able to utilize CMAQ funds at the same time as we're dealing with the waterline related work and improvements to that segment. Our goal is to also install proper pedestrian improvements for the full length of First Street between Main and A. And we'll be proposing to use $34,000 of local funds to complete the match portion of that project. and the 266 is congestion management air quality funds. Okay, on to another set of pedestrian ADA improvements, and hopefully you're seeing this trend. Many of the funding agencies are not only oriented as they have been on the past on street improvements, but building complete streets that promote all types of travelers. So one of the projects that we are proposing for next year is the completion of pedestrian and ADA improvements on B Street between 8th and Cesar Chavez. If you haven't been by that section of the city recently, there is curb, gutter, and sidewalk for most of that span. But there are many travelers on foot that are going back and forth to school sites on each side of the railroad crossing. So what we're proposing to do as a part of this project is to deliver and complete pedestrian and ADA improvements. And it is noted that we've had some complaints about this particular crossing, and for more than the last 8 months we've been in dialogue with the railroad about methods to improve it. We learned very rapidly the kind of core point of view of a railroad is we were here first, so anything you need is something that comes afterwards. So we'll be working with them to coordinate the improvements, but to also make the crossing safer for all travelers. It is also noted that we are proposing to bundle with this sidewalk and ADA work a focus on, we have an ADA transition plan that's tied to the downtown area. You may recall 2 years ago we had a pressure mounting from Caltrans that if we didn't have an adopted ADA plan that we were risking future funding. Because we have so many facilities and so many needs, we've carved it into phases. The first phase dealt with high traffic areas where we have many members of the public visiting. So we currently have ADA improvements underway at the police department for entry to their front door. We also have it at the main library. We're trying to work off the project list of high traffic areas. So part of the approach for Fund 421 is to bundle the B Street pedestrian ADA improvements with a number of ADA, very likely corners and curbs in the downtown area, specifically around the plaza.
Is there a member of the public here, Rosanna, that would like to comment on this?
I believe we do have Mr. Dominguez that's present here this evening.
Come on up.
Hello, Council Mayor. Hugo Dominguez, 1292 12th Street. I've been talking to Ms. Moore for the last 8 months about the crossing of the tracks. And I was assuming that the railroads were responsible, because the tracks, they're way off. Right. And being I'm retired now, I got a little more time watching. Well, my dad used to have a motorized wheelchair, and he had to park at the ACC to walk to get his cigarettes and beer, because it was hard for him to cross the tracks. Yeah. And it's getting worse now. I've seen other, and so I brought that to Ms. Moore back 8 months ago, and hopefully they can. I thought that maybe the railroad track, the company would.
Southern Pacific.
Yeah, just the pads.
Sure.
They're too. They're pretty far apart.
Elevations are different.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So, and being that, I see the kids. They got to walk over the tracks because now they're gonna walk in the street and the cars, just across the tracks there. So, I thought maybe put all that together and hopefully make the public more
Looks
safe.
like it's about to be addressed, so we appreciate you bringing the comment up to our city manager, certainly.
Yeah, and she's been real helpful, and we've been in dialogue together. So it's
good. And I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Good.
Some of those railroad tracks that are there have not been used in years. Have you had any discussions with that? Because they have not been used in years.
I don't have any information at this time relative to that. Are you referring to a specific crossing or rail at a particular location?
Well, I know on K Street, there's the railroad, not the one in the middle, but the ones close to, let's say, the packing shed. That hasn't been used in years, and they asked when those were going to be taken out because they're pretty rough. Why have them there if they're just messing up the vehicles? So that's the reason I bring that up. they asked me.
We can do some additional follow-up.
Yeah, because I think we kind of had a little talk way back when about that. But.
Mr. Dominguez, thank you for your comment, though. We do appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Mayor Nava, if I might, I noticed that Mrs. Sager is here as well as Atul Kumar, and they both had concerns about lighting-related issues on East Main, and it's great to see them here and happy to see at least we have a plan in place to address how we could configure the lighting, and then perhaps next year the council might consider what it would take from a cost estimate point of view to deliver a project to light that. Normally, lighting is driven by development and permits being pulled for improvements on site. But if the council wish to have that occur on a more rapid fashion, we're trying to identify a pathway for that to be accomplished.
Okay. On lighting, just as a comment,
I think that's coming up, right?
I actually, it was back on, and I apologize that I didn't catch. We've got a preliminary engineering report for Main Street lighting project between Eastern and Best. I didn't know if Mr. Kumar or Mrs. Steger would like to offer any additional comments.
Councilmember Couchman has a comment.
If I might, one of the questions I had from no, go ahead. Come on. One of the questions one of the questions that I had about the lighting was one of my constituents asked about lighting that doesn't affect the night sky. Are we looking at any of that? Are we looking at that when we put in the lighting? I know we don't always look at that, but I mean it's something that I think somebody asked me the question and I wasn't really thinking about it, but they said that they would like to see something. If we do lighting, that we would like to see a minimal amount of impact on the night sky, but I don't know where that's possible.
These are the tensions often at play with lighting-related improvements. In many communities, you find that there are restrictions on the lumens as well as the manner in which the light is cast.
Sure, the beam of the light.
I think some of the concerns that have come forward from members of the public on this particular topic are a desire to eliminate and maximize the potential lighting. But of course, we might have some additional comments here from Ms. Steger.
The only comment that I have is I just wanted to thank Mrs. Moore, who has just been so gracious and so helpful, and to thank all of you for considering and taking a look at that part of our city, which hopefully it'll go forward and maybe at one time we'll have some lighting. But thank you so much. Appreciate it. And thank you so much. And also thank you, I don't know, for giving me a call today, letting me know to speak stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience.
Mr. Kumar, is there
and the more to come.
Come on, Atul.
Any comment, Mr. Kumar? None?
Here is a surrogate commenter. Hey, Atul, you better get up. This is your surrogate commenter, Atul.
We're bringing more and more artists into the back into the city of Brawley. I actually have 10 rooms for next week's performance, and it is a concern. I did go over and talk to Atul. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your last name. I've known Atul as I know. Kumar. I've known Atul for years, so I only know him by that name. So my concern is also to the safety of our out of town guests. And like I said, I have 10 rooms. There's going to be 18 people, and I'd like them to feel comfortable and continue to come and be a guest in our city as we bring in artists. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll fast forward back to where we were, which was our Fund 421 project. So again, the approach that's proposed is to bundle these two sets of improvements. Okay, we have two 100% grant-funded projects that we expect to deliver in the next fiscal year with the assistance of Imperial County Transportation Commission. Those are ADA improvements to bus stops for the IVT route, as well as improvements and bus shelters for the Gold Line, which is our circulator shuttle within the city of Brawley.
Is there any member of the public who'd like to comment on that? I thought there would be. That's why I asked.
The one person who uses it, right?
That's why I wanted to give you the opportunity.
It would be nice to see some ADA improvements. Some of those stops are kind of difficult for people in wheelchairs to get on. I can think of The stop across the street from the old Clinicus, that's really difficult to get on, and subsequent stops on that street. Also, some Gold Line stops on B Street. Need some help because people in wheelchairs are getting off onto the city grass out there. Another thing, I'll just jump back to improvements on Eastern and between Eastern and Best on Main Street. There is that little used car lot over on the corner of Best Road and Eastern, where the barricades are. A little bottleneck out there that was supposed to be removed because of incoming improvements that I don't think are going to be happening in the near future. So I was wondering if there was a way that the city could just bite the bullet and improve that corner for just to get rid of those things, because it's ugly. It's kind of dangerous still, that little corner, because people are making right turns. I have been out there many times to help people back up so they can make a left turn onto things, because the things are staggered.
Mm-hmm. Are you referring to southeast
Yes.
corner? So
No, it's the northwest corner. It's the corner.
Where Big Barn used to be?
No, this is on Best Road. Best Road.
Right.
And it's right now it's a. I know it's the other corner used to be a used car lot, where Family Dollar is. This is now. People will leave their cars out there for.
I know what you mean.
I mean, anybody who drives east.
The far corner. So it would be the.
It's the opposite corner from the Texaco.
Right.
So it's.
On Best.
On Best Road.
Best in Maine.
So
Best
Best in
on
Maine.
the
northeast
side?
corner.
Okay, northeast.
Yeah.
I think
It's
we're all
the
thoroughly
northwest
confused
corner.
now, but
Yeah, I'm confused.
It's the northwest corner.
Okay.
Of that intersection, Best Road and Beach Road.
So the just updated gas station and
It's
convenience
across
Circle
the
K.
street.
Right
So that
directly
would be the
across
northeast
east
corner.
corner. Right.
That's Lucky Ranch. You're referring to
Right,
the Lucky
Matthews.
Ranch undeveloped
West-
corner?
I guess.
West of Hopeville.
West of Hopeville?
Yeah.
West of Hopeville, east of, who knows?
Moving on.
Moving right along.
But
Entirely lost.
I mean, that's where I'd like to see the focus of this is on K Street and on. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. But that's where I'd like to see the focus of this is because some of those stops, you have cracks, giant cracks. The one that's next to the railroad tracks that you were talking about earlier, near one of the packing sheds, that is really dangerous. There needs to be a resolution on the one at the hospital, because from what I understand, the hospital doesn't want the IVT using that bus stop on their property. That's what I've heard. No, and more frequent routes. That would be nice,
Sure.
but that's a pipe dream. Anyway, thanks for the time.
Thank you. Always appreciate your input. I know you're a frequent user, so not just at ICTC, but here for council's input. Thank you.
With regard to the stop at the hospital, as it currently stands, the bus drops at the front door of the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the requests that has been submitted to the city is that the stop be out on the street as opposed to the front door, that it's problematic for a large bus to pull onto the hospital property. The exhaust is not desirable at the front door.
Because it's right at the front door.
Now, the
Right.
downside of it is that creating a stop on Legion will knock out significant parking. So we have held on that topic as a subject that we'll be revisiting in the future, but right now don't have a solve for.
Okay.
So that information
They couldn't move
was
it
accurate.
down a little further east, maybe, to get it off in front of the door?
That takes the
Like
parking.
if
That
they
takes
if
the
they moved
parking
it. No,
too.
is there parking there though? I know what he
There
means. I
is
mean, if
some.
moving it past the door.
I'd be happy
yeah.
to talk with you further about it.
Well, we'd
We've
have to
looked
go
at a
take a
number
look
of
at it.
alternatives.
Okay.
I don't see a real easy alternative.
I mean, it's just the size of the bus that's going up there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next up is our water fund. But you may recall we have a loan repayment that was set up a couple of years ago. This was relative to a loan from the Wastewater Enterprise Fund to the Water Fund back in 2010. And we were unable to make payments because of the performance of the Water Fund, but did put ourselves on a payment plan. So those payments are $102,308 a year, and that payment is planned for next year. We've also got as a highest priority the replacement of one PLC at the water treatment plant. This is basically a computer on premises. It's one of 6, and it specifically serves the finished water area, and it costs approximately $200,000 to replace. You will probably be seeing the same topic every year because the age of the units requires us to replace them.
And not repair them? Is that, it's just a replacement of a unit, yeah?
Yes, and when you look at it, it's kind of like a CPU. They were big, monstrous units, 15 years ago, and now they're much smaller, but costly units to replace.
The VCR of its time.
8-track.
8-track.
Okay. Also, under the Water Fund, we've got two additional items, which are address of the water storage reservoir. You may recall that we had a presentation from the city engineer regarding the state of deterioration of that tank, and we have since taken it out of service. We're not using it for the service of Northeast Brawley at this time. To restore that reservoir will run approximately, estimated at $500,000. We're also anticipating that there may be a potential lease payment for that water storage reservoir, so we just want to remind council that we're continuing to work on that item and want it as a placeholder in the budget.
Is that what the airport was on?
Pardon me?
The lease payment?
For the airport, yes.
Yes. We talked about that.
Okay. So on to additional water projects. You may recall our valve replacement project occurred in the vicinity of Pat Williams Park, Rio Vista, North Rio Vista area. So we're proposing year 3 of that valve replacement project. Helps us with control when we do have breaks. We have the ability to section off the affected portions of the city. And then last fiscal year, we had a sedimentation basin repair and air vents that were proposed. Our hope had been to piggyback on a state agency that was acquiring the same services. Unfortunately, their procurement process didn't proceed at a pace that allowed us to piggyback with them. It is possible that we will have that opportunity next fiscal year, and if not, we'll be proceeding on our own for that work. Okay, water line replacement projects. These were last year's projects. They're in design with the Holt Group. Those include I Street from 3rd to 8th, 1st from Main to A, and Main from 1st to 8th. So hopefully those are all familiar. We're in the design process. Construction estimated to occur next fiscal year. This is also an item for carryover. Was placed in last year's lineup. It's a $250,000 pond liner replacement project that is proposed for next fiscal year. On the wastewater side of the universe, we are looking at carryover of our biosolids study, which we have yet to perform. This has to do with the content of our greenhouses. And also carryover of stormwater management technical assistance. And then proposing, just as we did this fiscal year, to proceed with scheduled replacement of UV bulbs and the UV analyzer. We are in the process of design for the manhole rehab, and our step screens and equipment shades will also be rolling forward. We bundled them together, but they are actually 2 separate design projects. The step screens were awarded at the last city council meeting, and you may recall that there's a large lead time for those step screens that are highly specialized features at the wastewater treatment plant. So there's a great deal of lead time involved, likely not to deliver until next year. And the equipment shades have to do with features at the wastewater treatment plant that we want to shade so we prolong their life. Wastewater projects, these were bundled with the water line projects. It's the same engineer as well. These were a couple of chronic areas that were identified, Adler Street from 7th to 8th, between Magnolia and A Street. That's a $300,000 estimated project. Airport fund. We are proposing to increase our budget. We had a $1,000 budget for our event last year. We're proposing to increase it to $2,500. The Airport Commission requested we look at the potential for airport signage. We're in the process of getting some quotes. If you've seen, historically the city would get great deals on signage that a local vendor prepared, and that vendor's no longer in business. And so we're looking at a method for minimizing costs by going up to Whitewater, acquiring the slab, and using a local etching service. So we're looking at those options. We have that same approach in place at the Public Works Yard and the wastewater treatment plant and the Elks Youth Building, so we know it works. We just need to hone in on a value. And the runway safety improvement project, this is the next project in the queue for the airport's planned activities, and it's majority FAA funded at 90%, with the remainder being the local match of $70,000. I will note that we are awaiting a reply from the state of California. It is possible that the $70,000, normally we do a split with the state Department of Transportation. For the 10% portion, it can be split in half, with the city carrying half of it and the Caltrans carrying the other. We're awaiting that, but for now are planning the $70,000. Okay, maintenance fund. We've got the maintenance shop shade. This is a carryover from 2 fiscal years. We're in design. This is to shade the area where large equipment is brought to the Public Works Yard to be worked on, and they are exposed out in the open. Our hope is to get them some shade to perform the work. And depending on timing, we're still working. You've already awarded the parking lot projects for the senior center and the fire station. Mm-hmm. We're not sure if we're going to be able to expend the dollars associated with completion of that work before June 30, or if it's carryover, so we're calling it potential carryover. We are also researching a piece of equipment that we think could be of great use to the city. Since we can no longer power wash and we have lots of downtown activities where sidewalks and alleys are being used, perfect world would be we could power wash it and make it nice and clean for use, but it's not the reality of our drought conditions. There is equipment out there that would allow us to use recycled water and clean sidewalks in advance of all these downtown events. This wouldn't be, it'd be smaller areas than what a street sweeper would use, and would allow our city to be a lot cleaner when we have so many downtown events. We're in the very preliminary stages of research. It looks like it could be in the $20,000 range, but it's something we'd like to bring back to you for your consideration.
Did you say, yes, the street sweeper could do the alleys or not do the alleys?
The way our contract is written is our street sweeper does it a certain number of times a year. It wouldn't be for parking lots. They don't do alleys. They do the parking lots. And while if there's terrible stuff that's in the alley and we have a human risk presented, a health concern, we can power wash, but otherwise it doesn't meet the threshold for the city staff going out and power washing. And it really does make all the difference in the world to have the area clean. We've also got in the lineup 2 air conditioner units that are over 15 years old at the building department. So that would be scheduled to come out of the maintenance fund. They have yet to receive new ACs, as all these other units have gone out. Theirs are on life support. We can keep them going, but anticipating that it would be best to replace them in the coming year. Okay. Any other questions? Can I help you with it? Are there any other areas that you would like to see us working on that we may not have addressed?
I think it's been very thorough. I don't have any questions at the moment. Does anybody else from council have any questions or comments?
Just on our newly burnt building. It's pretty ugly. I know they tried to board it up, but they're having to go back and clean it out. Have we gotten a hold of the owner, whoever owns that, and anything?
The owners primarily reside out of the country, and we have a point of contact in Nyland. We did not make positive contact today. I did authorize staff to proceed with expedited procuring of services to secure the property. So city will perform the work and attach a lien to the property and continue our efforts to collect.
Are there any questions regarding the Enterprise Special Funds report presented by our city manager?
I do have one comment. I was going to save it for council member reports, but over at the kiosk, on the front of the kiosk facing south, there's a nice plaque on the kiosk, and the shrubbery is pretty and all that, but it completely covers the plaque. I don't know.
The shrubs cover it. Shrubs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if we could move the plaque, cut the shrubbery back, but there is a plaque there from the folks that donated the kiosk.
To the side.
Up high or
it's
down
on
low?
It's on
we can definitely. I'm sure
it's
we
on the
can
front
trim.
of it,
Yeah.
It's on the west side of the steps.
Happy to. There are more improvements planned for. So you didn't see it in here, but
My name's not on it.
the Kiwanis Club is acquiring tile, and we will be using staff to complete the project. To tile, likely before cattle call is the goal. We are also requesting, there's a couple issues regarding signage and lighting in that area. The Kiwanis kiosk signage up above, there's been a lot of dialogue about whether it's adequately visible and whether having a board behind it of some kind. So we want to if we want to offer some alternatives to them. They've asked if we could paint plywood and place it behind, and if we could look at some lighting fixtures that maybe are directed at the signage.
It's looking really good. The work they did for the ADA that's really nice. But I just noticed that plaque.
But we're happy to. We can definitely trim back on the plaque, but we'll take another look at that as well as the signage up above.
Staff's done a really good job, and the volunteers too. That's worked.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right. Is there does it require a motion? It's just staff direction that you're looking for. I would just say that we're moving forward with your presentation, move forward in the direction that you presented. Is that everyone in agreement with that?
Yes. Yes.
All right. So that's your direction.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is city council member reports. We'll start with council member Noriega.
Go back to my notes here. There was a couple of us from the city council who went to the coffee reception for Eduardo Garcia, our assemblyman, and he gave us a rundown of different things that are happening and different grants that we can apply to. I did bring up about the 8th Street, G Street building, so hopefully they can get something done with that, add to it. I know we have a letter out because Sonia Carina also signed a letter for them to get that 8th and G Street burnt building gone away. Also, I brought up, he talked about the college, San Diego State, having maybe some more classes, and I added to them that I know a lot of students that have graduated from IBC with their nursing, but they also have to go on to get other nursing certificates, and they've had to go to Palm Springs and to San Diego. So I asked him if he would sit down and have a talk. We can sit down and have a talk with the dean, the president of San Diego State, to maybe look into some classes for nursing, the classes that they're going to Palm Springs or Palm Desert for. So he said he would do that. It seems like Eduardo Garcia is really, he said he loves the Imperial Valley. He has relatives that live here, so it makes it even much a bigger thing for him to really help us out. So I was happy to hear that. And he has other projects that he's working on for us, so I'll let Don continue with that, what else he had. And that's about it.
Thank you, Councilmember Noriega. Councilmember Couchman, please.
Oh, yes. I attended the Taste of the Valley at San Diego State University. Very neat event, well attended by people from Brawley and also by people from the north end to the south end and all around. It's a real nice event down at San Diego State and a good fundraiser for them. I did also write a letter to San Diego State with a recommendation for Dean Pearson to remain as the dean down here in Imperial Valley. I think he's done some neat things down here in Imperial Valley since he's been here, involved in the community. His wife's also involved in the community. So I did write a letter for him to a selection or a committee that was evaluating his performance here in Imperial Valley. I attended the overall Economic Development Commission meeting in El Centro, just discussing some overall things with the SEDS and some other topics, and not a lot to cover there. We did meet at IID. League of Cities meeting and dinner. We all, I think all of us were there. I attended that. A very nice event. We did a real good job with it in Westmoreland, and that's a nice place to visit. And at the Town Pump, they serve a fine dinner, and we had a lot of dialogue and actually a lot of attendance. And so that was there. Let's see. Farmers Market. Attended the Farmers Market. We dedicated the NOCA stage, the Rotary NOCA stage that we purchased through the Rotary Club's donation for performances both outside and inside for young performers and old performers alike to utilize that stage for their performances. And I think it's a good thing, nice stage, and I think it will suit the purpose very, very well. Also the library book sale. I always appreciate that. That's always a great thing. And I can move the books around and harass the staff and all of that type of thing. And it's real good, and you get a good value on the books, and it's always a nice event. Thank you.
Did they say you could fill up your bag? You brought your own bag, Sam? It was a big trash
bag. Yeah. Some lady gave me a bag
to
fill up. Yeah,
she
said she brings a lot of her own. And so,
good.
Also the Cesar Chavez celebration on the side street there. I thought it went off very well attended. I think logistically they may need to move some things around, but I think overall it was a great event. A lot of people attended, and it went on, I think, quite a while. I went home after 4 or 5 hours, and so I'd had enough with Farmers Market and that too. So, and I just wanted to remind everyone that the IVROP Community Foundation Dancing with the Stars event is on May the 1st. And if you haven't bought your tickets, they are selling those now. It will be out at the Country Club. As you know, they have stars and they dance, and there'll be some competition there. It's for a good cause, but we provide scholarships throughout the Imperial County with the funds that we raise through that, and all the money does go to scholarships. And so I just wanted to recognize that, and they asked me to put in a plug for that event. So since I'm the Community Foundation president, I thought I would do so. And so that's it for right now.
Number one dancer.
So thank you all very much.
Number one dancer.
Oh, I did notice the city staff out working hard as always on the breaks. They worked night and day, I think, out there. I went by several different times, see what was going on. And A&R Construction, I think, came out and assisted with that effort. And so we appreciate that, and we appreciate all the hard work on all the part of all the city staff. So thank you.
Smile back? Seems smile back there?
Yep, I saw the smile.
I know, right?
I noticed that.
Thank you, Councilmember Couchman. Councilmember Campbell.
Just a couple of things. I attended the Imperial County Air Pollution meeting the other day, and very interesting. I attended for my colleague, Mr. Couchman. One of the topics that they talked about was the field burning in the ag industry. That was a big topic they talked about quite a bit. I attended the sneaker ball with the MAD Coalition at the Elks, and that was a nice event. They gave out quite a few awards for a lot of the folks here in the community that helps that coalition. I attended a cup of coffee with Mr. Garcia, and quite naturally, you know me, I brought up a couple of topics about the enterprise zone, the RDA, and the state is looking at some different avenues for funding to replace some of that funding, because when you have blighted areas the way we have, without the revenue, it's just hard. It's hard to get by with some of those things. So they're really looking into bringing some of that back at a different avenue to help the cities with that funding. I attended the league dinner, and also always the town pump puts on a good meal, and it was fun, and the place was packed. The farmers market in Cesar Chavez was nice. It was a little bit warm that day, but it was pretty nice. I think, and there were so many activities going on that weekend, the crowd was kind of down, but the usual folks was there, and we had a pretty good time. So, but other than that, it's been quiet. Dealing with Little League, watching the little kids play baseball, and enjoying our parks. And I always give kudos to our parks, because Brawley does such a good job accommodating our kids and other kids, and kids from all over the valley come to our parks and have a good time. So I want to thank staff for their work, and I ask that God continue to bless you guys and watch over you and bless your families. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Campbell. Mayor Pro Tem Warden.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple items. We were here for the Brawley Business Advisory Committee. We did not have a quorum, but I think we touched on that today, so hopefully in the future we can keep that going. But the issue that we were going to discuss, and again, it's been on our agenda, so it's open to the public. I do encourage anybody, especially with these business interests, to come to our meetings. That's what they're there for. They're for the public, not just committee members. But we were going to discuss a project that's coming up that I think would be of interest to anybody in the city. So when you get the chance, if interested, please do so. Airport Advisory Commission, very next day, very well attended. Several topics on there. And once again, we do have some new commissioners, so I'm really happy that it sounds like we're kind of really coming together. And as a commission, there's some good synergy going. It's great expertise on it. So again, I thank both the mayor and the city council for supporting some of the new appointments. Got some new enthusiasm there. Third item is my just real quick shameless plug, because I know our chamber executive director already did that, but coming up, Brawley Chamber Mixer. It will be held at the airport, and I am, at this moment, I have my airport hat on. I'm really excited about that. We had a great event when we did have our open house, airport day, aviation day. So that's really where the idea was born from. It's let's get more folks, more citizens out, so it's not just per se limited to chamber member interaction. I really encourage anybody that's hearing this. Unfortunately, we just didn't have the advertisement budget to broadcast it everywhere we would like. But certainly, hopefully, through word of mouth chamber advertisement, we certainly invite the public. Lloyd's been the recipient of some helicopter rides, in the past, in terms of media, but we will be raffling off a helicopter ride there too as well. Gift baskets and that kind of thing. So come meet the crews. Final thing is just, and I'm going to defer to the mayor on this. I did attend an ad hoc meeting with one of the biggest topics I think that's been in the paper with reference to the beef plant. So with that, it was informative. I thought it was open dialogue, so it's kind of the beginning of hopefully something exciting, hopefully something coming up in the future, and I defer to the mayor.
Well, thank you for your comment.
Mayor, I just have one thing. I want to thank all of you for the plant that you sent me when my aunt passed away. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to add? No? I think, Don, do you have one announcement?
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention the Primavera Ball. That's Friday at the Hidalgo. St. Margaret Mary's that's a fundraiser that they put on every year for a good cause. So I'm looking forward to seeing my colleagues there and everyone from the public that can make it.
Thank you. And I'll try to keep it short. But I did attend the Rotary Club new stage donation. Actually, our council member Couchman did the signing, and he was featured on local paper signing that check. So I hope they're able to cash it now with his signature. I'm not
President
sure.
of that. I'm the president of that also.
Right, yeah. So, but no, it was a great event. I'm glad that we were out there participating, and it was a nice farmers market as well. Also attended the Cesar Chavez Festival, and there was a special recognition of Luis Olmedo from Comité Cívico, and he was awarded. He was presented an award that night for his involvement in the community and his help throughout the community. So that was a nice event, well attended. I would say there's at least a couple thousand people out there. So it was and there was some logistical challenges. I think the stage needed to be further away from Main Street, but other than that, I thought it was well attended. People seemed to be having a great time, so I enjoyed it as well. Also attended an event at Comité Cívico. It was hosted. They hosted an event with the Department of Toxic Controls, and that's to discuss some SEPs and penalty mitigation. Our Assembly member Garcia was there as well, and we talked about, if we are going to be penalized here locally, to try and keep those funds here local and assist us in projects. And I know that there are some things that we're talking about within the city that hopefully those funds can be applied to. And so I know we're actively in that process now, so I'm happy to see that move forward. Let's see, and also attended the league dinner with most of my colleagues here. That was well attended, and it's always nice to get some feedback from other cities and hear what they're doing. It looks like a lot's moving forward throughout the Imperial County, so I'm happy to see that. And lastly, I would like to mention that I attended, along with Council Member Wharton, Mayor Pro Tem Wharton, and with our city manager, Rosanna Bayon-Moore, we attended the ad hoc committee meeting with One World Beef. It took place earlier today, and I know it's a hot topic. It's been covered in the local paper, and there has been a press release by One World Beef with respect to trying to reactivate the beef plant, and it looks like there's still a lot of work to be done, a lot of vetting, and they're in their due diligence process. We had a pretty open discussion and dialogue with them, as well with other agencies like the IID in the county. And so we'll just work with staff and see what exactly One World Beef is requesting of the city. Their approach to things is much different than National Beef. So, certainly before we commit to anything, or even if we decide not to or commit to anything, we'll bring it back to council for consideration and approval. But at this point, it still looks like a lot of work needs to be done. They're in their due diligence phase, and I believe they mentioned the date of June 5th. That's when they would determine whether or not they're going to move forward with that purchase. So it looks like a lot of work is still in process, and you can imagine just by the size of the facility itself, how much work would need to be done to get it operational and up and running. So they did mention that some of the equipment that was there previously to operate the plant has been removed, and that this announcement has stopped that process. So hopefully they're in a better position now to try and reactivate the operation there. So we did talk briefly about some employment figures, but I think it's premature to announce that. But certainly we're looking forward to seeing how we can help One World Beef and really any other interested buyers. So we're at that stage now, and really there's not much more to add other than what you've read in the paper is accurate, and that's what was shared with us today. And we did get a little bit more information, but we're going to do some more research, and our city staff is going to be gathering some additional information for them, and we'll keep you abreast as to what's taking place. But other than that, that's where we're at with the ad hoc committee meeting. I just want to thank staff for all the hard work. I know you all have been working very hard, and with the line breaks and everything else, I saw some staff members out there today, and I talked to them, and it's been a challenging time. But again, thank you, and thank you all for your help. And we'll move on to our city manager's report.
On 8th and G, I want to share that with our city clerk's assistance, we have gathered over 30 letters of support. They span all kinds of stakeholder groups, nonprofits, for-profit businesses, all kinds of anchors in the downtown and throughout the city. So we're very hopeful that it will help to show what a compelling case there is for state support, and certainly welcome the assistance of Senator Wesso in securing resources for that cleanup effort. I want to share with Council that on the Cesar Chavez Festival debrief front, Staff is actively working to convene a meeting with productive dialogue on what worked, what didn't work, how can we be of greater assistance in the future. It is very likely that we end up with a future Main Street event. The reason that didn't occur this go-around was just timing, a pure timing issue with regard to coordinating the farmers market as well as the festival. So if we can get kind of everybody coordinated a little bit earlier in the season, I think Main Street might be a better venue for that size of crowd and all of the logistics associated with farmers market and special evening event on the same day. So looking forward to those lessons learned. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at the volunteer park parking lot project, it has commenced. It's really exciting to see, and that was with financial support from the Air Pollution Control District. So we want to make sure and give them all the credit they deserve for helping us to deliver a community project of this scale. It's going to be great to see the orderly presence of those parking spaces there, and we're very hopeful about future support. We've got lots of potential projects to pursue in the future with the county APCD board, so we're really grateful for their help. Lastly, just wanted to give a quick preview. I'll be communicating in writing an update regarding some rule changes from the Community Development Block Grant requirements. It has to do with program income and the manner in which the city has to utilize funds that are accumulated before we can draw down the funds that are available for things like the fire apparatus and the manhole rehab related work. So we actually need to utilize all of the local funds available before we can tap the other state resources. The goal is that cities aren't accumulating these large balances and in addition seeking help from the state. There are rule changes about the types of activities that are allowed. We're in the process of preparing something called a proposed supplemental activities report. And what we're looking at is the possible projects include additional sidewalk improvements in the downtown area, perimeter improvements to the senior center where we're doing parking lot improvements, and we have a bus stop. So kind of working to make sure that we have a complete solution there in place. We're also looking at options to potentially further develop public parking lots in the downtown area. So those are all of the types of activities that we are evaluating. An interesting thing happened in the last year in the city of Brawley. Our average income actually increased slightly, and as a result, we are no longer, as a city, eligible for projects that in and of themselves open to all members of the public. They no longer qualify because our income levels have increased. So that means that we actually have to target other national objectives for the money. So it has to deal with ADA, or handicapped persons, homeless persons, senior citizens. There's certain groups that we now have to develop projects around.
Senior center as an example?
Senior center as an example, and it's anything there that is eligible for the use of the funds meets the criteria because of it being a senior center. So as the encouraging part is that we'll probably be able to do more than we would have been able to do otherwise if we were just waiting on the availability of general fund dollars. But we'll give you a lot more detail in the future. Just want to make you aware of it as we begin to look at what options are available that the state will consider for the city of Brawley. And with that, that is all I have to report.
Thank you for your report. Mr. Hamilton, our treasurer, anything to report? Nothing? How are you feeling, Mr. Hamilton? Good. I'm glad to hear it. City attorney's report?
We'll talk in closed session.
Okay. Is it good or bad? Our city clerk's report. Nothing to report.
Primavera Ball was a reminder, and the chamber mixer. And
Chamber
I'll do
mixer?
a media blast for you tomorrow.
Oh, thank you.
Chamber mixer and the Primavera Ball. Fantastic. Thank you. And having said that, we're going to take a 5-minute break and go into closed session. But again, thank you very much.
We were going to talk about the change
To the
or not?
meeting, or no, yeah.
Oh, the meeting change?
Yeah.
Well,
We wanna
that'll
discuss
just be, that, we didn't discuss that.
It's
There was
the
a,
second meeting in May, though, so we
Yes.
can put it on the next meeting agenda if you guys
yeah,
are open.
why
Yeah,
don't
we
we do
could
that?
do
We do
that.
it on
We
the
can
next
make
meeting
it-
agenda, and that'll be
That'll
on the
work.
5th.
That'll
Yeah.
work, yeah. we
All
can
right.
do that.
Cinco de